Once upon a time, in the vasty, ancient, beautiful land of China, there was a little girl, and her name was JayKayWeekly, and she was a very lucky little girl. Well, she wasn't lucky because she lived in an enormous mansion made of wood, where all the roofs were like that. She wasn't lucky because she had a garden, which was as big as a city, a garden with fountains and waterfalls and a jungle full of monkeys. And she wasn't lucky either because she had a bamboo bed which was attached to the ceiling, and every night when she got into bed, the servants would rock her to sleep. Oh no, she was lucky because she had a servant called Mr. Wah, a very, very old servant. But Mr. Wah was the best storyteller in the whole of China. Every night, Mr. Wah used to pad up the stairs, open the door, and say, good night, Changyling, but before you go to bed, I'm going to tell you good night, Changyling. Put his walking stick down and then tell her stories. Stories about dragons and tigers and princes and princesses and black freighters moving through fog and ghosts that hung from trees. But every night before he left, Mr. Wah used to say, "Now, Changyling, I've told you a story, and you must pass the story on, Changyling. You've got to tell other people. All right?" "All right, Mr. Wah, I'll pass the story on. Good night, Mr. Wah." "Good night, Changyling. Sweet dreams." And he would take his walking stick and disappear down the stairs. But Changyling would not go to sleep. She would open one eye and look all the way around the room because you see, when someone tells you a story, sometimes it remains floating in the room, and Changyling knew this. And she would get out of bed and hunt the stories. And catch them. Changyling! Let me go! Please, don't put me in the... She would put the captured stories at the end of her bed. Changyling, I've been lifted, somebody! Every night he told her stories. Every night she put them in books. And then when she was at school, boys used to come up to her and say, Changyling, yeah. You know me, yeah? Well, you know my friends, yeah? Well, you know you, yeah? Well, you know you got a servant called Mr. Wah, yeah, who tells you stories. Can you get Mr. Wah to tell us stories? And Changyling would say, "No, he's my servant. Get servant your own." And then girls would come up and say, Changyling, Mr. Wah's told you loads of stories. Could you tell us the stories he's told you? And Changyling would say, let me think about it. No! until she became a teenager. And when she was 16, she was Mr. Wah sitting down steaming perfumed jasmine rice and some fish on the top. When Mr. Wah came in, Changeling, look, you've got a letter.
Oh, let me see it, Mr. Wah, let me see the letter. Oh, Mr. Wah, guess what? My cousin, what lives in Beijing, she's gonna get married, and I'm invited to the wedding. So, Mr. Wah, go upstairs and get my.
But as he left, she said,
"Oh, and Mr. Wah, the invitation's just for coming. You're not coming."
Well, Mr. Wah padded up the stairs, opened the door. He stopped because he could hear voices coming from inside the room. The voices were coming from the juicy. One of the voices said, "It's so packed in here, would you mind where you're putting your please? I can't breathe." But another story said, "She's got a letter from Beijing. She's going to a wedding. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn myself into a field of straw. Lovely, delicious, fruity, juicy strawberries will be poison. So when she eats them, she'll die." But another voice said, "I'm going to turn myself into a bed, a beautiful, soft feather bed. But inside the bed will be spikes. And if she lies on the bed, the spikes will go through her." But the last voice was the worst. It said, "I'm going to turn myself into a snake, and I'm going to hide in her bed boys." She pulls back the covers and gets in. I'll bite her and poison her. Mr. Wah heard the voices. He quietly closed the door and he went downstairs and he went to Changeling and he said, "Changeling, upstairs."
Where's it, Mr. Wah? What have you done?
No, Changeling, upstairs.
Mr. Wah, have you got my dress ready?
No, Changeling, upstairs, Changeling, upstairs.
Mr. Wah, I've told you to get my dress ready and you're not coming, you silly man.
She wouldn't listen to him, so Mr. Wah knew he would have to save her himself. And so he went to the stable and he took out the best horse, a horse called Mr. Chow. "Come on, Mr. Chow. Hey, you're gonna go on a long journey." And he led the horse into the courtyard. Changeling came down and said,
"Oh, good, Mr. Wah, my dress is on the back of the horse. Good, Mr. Wah. Now help me up onto the horse. Right, Mr. Wah, give me the reins of the horse. That's right, Mr. Wah. Now get out of the way, Mr. Wah, because I'm allowed to go to Beijing on my own because I'm 16, so I'm allowed."
Mr. Wah did not give her the reins. Mr. Wah started to pull the horse out of the courtyard.
Mr. Wah, 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 Wah! Give me the reins of the horse! Mr. Wah! Give me the reins of the horse! Mr. Wah! Mr. Wah! I'm really gonna get you when we get to Beijing, Mr. Wah!
Soon they were on the dusty road to Beijing, and after many hours, with the sun beating down on her hat, Chung Yiling was very, very thirsty.
Oh, Mr. Wah, I can't bear it anymore. I didn't bring my water bottle, Mr. Wah. I'm so thirsty. Mr. Wah, will you stop by a stream? Oh, look, Mr. Wah! Look over there in that field. It's a load of straw, red, delicious, juicy straw. Stop by the field of straw to eat some.
But Mr. Wah did not stop. In fact, Mr. Wah went faster and started to run and pulled Mr. Chow.
Mr. Wah, Mr. Wah, I told you to stop by the field of straw. Mr. Wah, we're going past the field of straw. Mr. Wah, we'll go past the field of strawberry. We'll go past. I'm really gonna get you when we get to Beijing, Mr. Wah.
And soon they entered a forest, a bamboo forest. And as the breeze caught the top of the big long poles of bamboo, they clacked together, and Chung Yiling was getting very sleepy with the rhythm of the horse and the wind through the trees. And they came out and crossed a little wooden bridge, and Chung Yiling said,
Oh, Mr. Wah, I'm so tired on this journey. If only we could stop and rest for a minute. Oh, look! Mr. Wah, look over there. There's a willow tree. And underneath the willow tree is a beautiful stream, and would you believe it? There's a lovely bed, a lovely soft feather bed by the willow tree. Mr. Wah, stop by the soft, lovely bed, so I can have a little bit of a
stop. In fact, Mr. Wah grabbed the reins and he ran with Mr. Chow, the horse.
Mr. Wah, I told you to stop the horse. Mr. Wah, you're going past the bed. Mr. Wah, you're going past the bed. Mr. Wah, I'm gonna get. You're gonna get to Beijing, Mr. Wah.